Right. Hello and welcome to Pest Perspectives, episode 72. This week I actually have Dan Lucas on, but obviously last week was meant to be him. I got him and Jim mixed up. Last week was a good podcast. It was all about bird control and subcontracting bird control. It was quite fun and interesting. It was. So thanks to Jim. It's done quite well so far. All the podcasts do quite well, but because obviously you have peaks and troughs with when people listen, because it's obviously the summer and a lot of people are busy. But yeah, if you're watching, please press follow on Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow me, please, on our LinkedIn account. If you're watching after the fact, please press follow on Spotify and press the review button. It'd be great to get new reviews. And on Apple Podcasts, I've only got one review. So come on, people, one review. I have over 100 people or more following the podcast on there. I have one review. Come on, get some reviews in. But hi, Jackie. Thanks for watching over on Facebook. So obviously the podcast is powered by Powered Now. As you can see up in the top left-hand corner. I don't know what it is on the live feed, but they're a job management company. So you can schedule your pest control jobs, your tools, your pest reports, etc., and schedule to the customers. So it's quite good in that way. But yeah, check them out if you want. The link should be in the description. If not, just Google it. And this week I have on Dan Lucas from CSS Pest Services.
Hi, Shaun. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. That is quite good, because I normally look at the bottom of the screen and you've just got your logo right there on the t-shirt. So I can't get it wrong. I can't get it wrong there.
That's it.
Right, Ricky. Cheers for tuning in, mate. So, how are you doing on this fine hot day?
Yeah, I've been struggling in the heat today. Been out doing Field Biologist visits this afternoon, which nice hot warehouse, packing area. Yeah, it was a bit of a struggle. I could see the rest of the workers sweating away as well. So we're in it as a team, Shaun.
Do you have all the gear on?
Oh, yeah.
Like all hairnets and stuff and all that.
It's sticking to. I've obviously had a shave for the podcast, look my best, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, proper big beard smoothed on earlier, and it was all sticking. It was horrendous.
You didn't have a shave for me. It's fine. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on. It's something new for you. I know it's something you've never really done before. So
yeah, definitely. It's something I wanted to, get involved with and have the opportunity to talk about stuff and move forward with it. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just to I've had a lot of people on there. It's just a natural conversation. It's just, that's all it is. Sometimes people comment, sometimes people don't. Most people usually say hello if they're watching. Okay. They do. So how did you get into pest control? Because it says on your LinkedIn, it's a career's over 10, 15 years, is it?
Yeah. So literally, I was one of these people that could not stick at a job before I found pest control. I was bouncing around sort of 6 weeks here, 6 months was the max since sort of leaving school. And nothing really spoke to me. And then sort of one day I was just flicking through YouTube and I saw a day in the life of a pest control. The name of the company escapes me now. I can't remember who it was, but it looked so cool. Out about in the field, treating wasp nests. That was normal stuff on the video. Anyway, went straight onto Indeed and thought, right, I'm going to give this a go. Applied at a few places and was pretty unsuccessful. But then I got to go into CSS. And obviously, no experience, complete novice to the industry. They gave me a chance and stuff. And ever since then, I've been, absolutely wanting more. Every opportunity I could to sort of pick up any additional training courses, bits and pieces. I've loved it. It's the whole thing of, we're surrounded by all these animals all the time, and having that knowledge. And when you're in the pub and stuff and someone goes, oh, I've got rats at home or whatever, it's something that, initially brings you together and gives you an opportunity to really, connect with strangers as well, as weird as that sounds. that was it really. But yeah, so I joined them, started as a service technician. I think I was there 6 months and got me level 2.
Let's preface this. Is that level 2 day course or is that level 2 3-day course?
It was
the big one.
It was the big one. So I was there for the whole week.
You have to preface it nowadays because everyone, when you say level 2, everyone just thinks the day course.
Yes,
the whole confusion.
It was the whole big long week, going away, staying in a hotel, studying, that sort of thing.
Nice.
Really, got to meet some fantastic people there as well, and that was great. And then sort of went into these BRC sites and SAUSA sites and bits that we're going to cover tonight. From there, did 4 years as a service technician, and then progressed to the service manager. Again, loved that because I'd got to build decent relationships with the rest of the technicians in the team and stuff, and it was a whole different shift from being one of the guys to the management side. But I loved the team. Would be up there in the lofts doing the sanitization with them and stuff like that. Never asking people to do anything I wouldn't do. And then the opportunity arose to go for the biologist, and I've been doing that now for 2 years. So fantastic, really. I've enjoyed every minute of my career so far.
You do seem very passionate, you do, which I like. You do seem very passionate about it, which is good. That is. Hello to Adam Thomas on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Press that subscribe button if you haven't already. But that's good to hear. That is, it's you had a variety of different roles. So
definitely. It's been an opportunity to really see every aspect of it in terms of the person on site delivering the service, then the service manager who it's about volume of calls and getting those calls done and, to a good standard, but getting the volume of calls in. And then the field biologist is sort of making sure that it's technically perfect and everything is done to these standards and adhering to it. So it's been really... I've seen all sides of the sort of service, and I've loved every part of it, really. Yeah.
No, that's good to hear. So, with you, when you started being another person here, hello, Paul Ullman. I know he messaged me earlier saying he was looking forward to this one. But there's a lot of people on stream. There's a few people, but thanks everyone. Press follow or subscribe, whatever platforms you're on. So when you were a technician, were you just doing routines, or were you going to people's houses?
Yeah,
and doing,
definitely. The good thing about CSS is it gives the opportunity to be all rounders. So obviously I was doing mole works in the middle of the field. I was doing domestic 3-part rinse programs, bed bug riddance, rodent riddance, that sort of thing. But then obviously the commercial side, I was much more into the food factories. Sort of right at the start, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be involved in the food sites. I wanted to have the opportunity to, look at the trend and get involved. And luckily at the time, our biologist was really passionate and there as well, and sort of took me under the wing and was like, "Oh, this is what you need to think about on these food sites." And it was, I mean, I still love going on a domestic. There's nothing bad about sort of going up and doing a 3-part rinse program and getting that instant gratification from the customer who's finally had a good night's sleep or was worried about the wasps in the garden. That's great. But it's that, getting through an audit without any non-conformances and everything being perfect, gives me a buzz as well.
That's good to hear. That is, you are passionate. It comes through. You can see. I like that. Hi Ricky, thanks for popping in, mate. Nice to hear a local qualified pest controller. So when you made that step to service manager, how did the team treat you? Because obviously you were one of the team, then you're going to be kind of like a step up. Was it the same? Was it people weren't fussed, or because obviously you were with them, weren't you?
Naturally, as a technician, I sort of was a complete nerd. So I'd sort of go away and read the pest manual of an evening and stuff like that. So I'd already sort of taken a bit of a sort of not official team leader, but team leader in terms of helping the guys. If they had questions, they'd come to me and stuff like that. So I think it was almost like a natural progression to move into the service manager role. And really the guys, great bunch of guys. Really, really, passionate as well. Wanted to do their stuff. Wanted to do it well, and we all just pulled together as a team. I've never really had any confrontational in terms of people having an issue with me. I think I've always been fair, and as I said at the start, going up into a loft space to do those loft clearances when you're a guy short or something like that just shows that you're not expecting them to do anything that you wouldn't do. And if they're out at 5 o'clock at night, I'd go and join them and finish off what they were doing so we could all get home at a reasonable time, and just stuff like that, really.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. That is, because obviously you hear, I always like to hear it when they say I wouldn't ask them to do anything I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, on the hottest day of the week, would you like to go and join them on a loft clearance?
I would definitely say to the guys, let's call it today.
Yeah. Wow, we have another field biologist in the building. Hello, Debbie Wilson. How are you doing?
Hi, Debbie.
You know Debbie?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
She's I'm in Colville, and she's over, I think, other side of Colville, actually. So
somewhere near there, yeah. But yeah, no, thanks for popping in, Debbie. So yeah, that's good to hear. Then, do you know, with obviously you had steps to become a field biologist. Yeah. So what were the qualifications you went through? Because obviously you go from a level 2 tech award or certificate. So then you've got to do you go through your, I'm presuming you've done your CAT as well.
Yeah. So the first stage was a certified advanced technician. And I must admit, moving from that level 2 to that certified advanced technician scared the hell out of me, because I was like, am I going to be good enough? Am I going to be able to identify these species off of samples and all that sort of stuff? And that was probably the exam that I studied the hardest for. And I didn't pass it first time. I got 2, because it was a 3-module thing. You got 2, and you got to retake the additional one. And my treatment reports, because back then it was all handwritten. We were doing handwritten ones and all the time. I thought I'd aced the treatment report, so it was sort of something that I put in the back of my mind, and I thought, I know how to write a treatment report. No problems with that. So I focused really hard on risk assessments and the identification side of it and everything like that. And let myself down on the treatment report. But sort of took the retake and got it sorted on the second attempt, as it were.
Well, it's nice to hear your honesty, because obviously Debbie knows I had to retake my. I passed my vertebrates first time. I failed my invertebrates and the health and safety, but it wasn't by a lot. That's the annoying thing.
Yeah, it's frustrating when it's just there, isn't it?
But you know what got me now? A lot of it was I was learning about cockroaches, having never done cockroaches, you see. I'd never done them up to that point, but I now know. I've done 2 cockroach jobs since. Two. That's it. You don't get them a lot around here.
No.
You don't.
It's cool when you come across the stuff you don't get to do every day, isn't it? It's sort of like your cockroaches or, Indian meal moth or stuff like that. It's it's cool.
Yeah, no. So you obviously done your CAT.
Yep.
And then.
So got that under the belt. Then it was sort of a prerequisite for that was doing food safety level 2 and health and safety level 2.
Level 3 as well, isn't it? Is it level 3 as well?
Yeah, so level 3 is for the biologist when you move.
Oh, sorry, right, yeah.
I'd done the food safety and the health and safety level 2, which is a good course to do anyway, regardless of if you want to do additional exams and stuff. Just to have that knowledge under the belt and that certificate. And then so then I did me level 3, which compared to the level 2 food safety. The level 3 food safety is from a supervisor's point of view. So it was much more about stock coming in, rotation, that sort of stuff, which was great. And then it was the field biologist exam, which it was tough. I came out of it thinking I hadn't passed the first time, but I did. It was all right. So it was good. sort of the scenarios and stuff, my hand was burning at the end of it because I was trying to write last down to the last second, like everybody is in exams. But yeah, it was good. Luckily, there was another man that was taking it at the same time. He sort of was talking me off the edge before we went in for the exam because I was like, no, it's gonna be a nightmare. I'd go through the flashcards, But yeah, we got there. We sorted it.
Well, that's good to hear. So obviously, with the field biologists, are they? Because obviously you spell a lot of hard words because they want you to spell it the Latin way, don't they?
Yes, yeah.
So do you have to spell everything correctly, or if you're just in the right area, they get
so the spelling was the hard thing. The great thing on the identification aspect on the BPCA is that you get the main point for the common name, and then you get half a point for the Latin name. So if you get everything right, then you can effectively get past that pass grade. But I mean, sort of the stuff that we use every day, all I can advise is just get in the habit of, when you're doing your treatment reports, put brown rat and then in brackets use the scientific name, just so that you start reinforcing it, because it's the easy ones. You can tick those half a points up, and then you're pretty much there. But there's some brilliant learning aids out there, sort of flashcards for your scientific names and bits and pieces like that. It's the resources are there, because when I first took it, I was like, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What do I need to look at?
I bet you made your own, didn't you?
Yeah, it's I did for the for the cat, for the field biologists. I got a set offline, but it was
Veritas. Are they Veritas flashcards?
Yeah,
I've got them as well. Yeah,
fantastic. They are really
I need to look at them more. I do.
Yeah. It's but it's really cool, and sort of it led me down a rabbit hole of like looking at where these scientific names come from, and it was the honeybee originates from Greek mythology, which is really cool. So yeah.
No, it is. It is interesting, a lot of this. It's like I've still got to finish it. There was like an entomology, I'm probably saying it wrong, open diploma thing. I haven't finished it yet, but a lot of the stuff in it, I was like baffled. It's like, flies in murders, they can tell what time they die because of the flies. I was like, whoa.
That is cool, yeah. 100%.
That's the kind of stuff that they use insects for, as an insect, they can, things like that. It's mental.
Flying insects, and just especially on these audited sites and stuff, just the insights you can get from doing catch tray analysis. You can spend hours going into it and like thinking of sort of like what I mean, sort of like waterborne insects. If you're picking up mosquitoes, it leads you to think that maybe the gutters are being blocked and the water's pooling up there, and it spirals. So the stuff with the blowflies and the time in the body, it's just the story insects can tell is fantastic.
They've been here longer than we have. Yeah. That's what they say.
I do say as well that the when you get your field biology degree, all of a sudden you're expected to know all the, I think it's 27,000 different species of insects within the UK.
You can't know that.
No, I don't.
Like, you've got one set of species of a moth, but there really is they reckon there's thousands of species of each one, and subspecies and subspecies and stuff they haven't found yet as well. They reckon there's still a lot that hasn't been discovered.
Yeah. Which is exciting.
But you're supposed to know everything here. I wouldn't expect you to know that.
It's mainly the technicians ring me up, send me a photo or something, and I'm like, I'll get the kit out, bring it to the office, we'll look at it together. But yeah, there's a lot of insects.
You take a decent photo as well. You have to take a decent photo.
Oh yeah, I mean that is half the problem, isn't it? Because they're so small, zooming in and stuff. I always prefer a physical sample for doing the IDs. I don't think you can do it any other way, really.
No, it is hard. You're right.
Yeah.
So let's just you don't have to say what you get paid. I just wanted to know, you jumping from a level 2 tech to being a tech, and then obviously I'm not going to ask the service manager, but through you going through all these qualifications and training to become a field biologist, is the pay worth the result as well? I know you love doing pest control and field biology, but was all the training worth it for the pay you get for doing field biology?
100%. I mean, it's difficult for me to answer because it is.
I'm not going to
my
say ask
passion.
you how much.
You know what I mean. I'd probably do it for free, Shaun. To be fair. So,
don't say it. Your boss might be watching.
Oh yeah, good point.
But no, that's good to hear it was worth it, because I can tell you're a passionate person. The most passionate I've seen in a while. You are for that kind of. So, do you get any, like, for field biologists? Is there any kind of perks you get, or is there any bonuses with the job? Like any special things you get with being the field biologist?
I think,
as opposed to being a normal tech. Instead,
I think the perks. Sort of, it's when you're doing the actual inspections and stuff, it's you're on site, you know, exactly the same as a normal technician, apart from you know, you have much longer with the folder, and then also while you're going around, they have more time to go and have a look in that corner, or go up onto the mezzanine, or really annoy the engineers by asking them to bring a ladder up so you can get access to the roof void that nobody ever goes into, or something like that. So I mean, the benefits of the day-to-day, where you can actually, you know, have the time to do this in terms of going to the extra detail. But I mean, the actual field biology is still boots on the ground, still out there, still going to sites, still building those customer relationships. You know, it isn't all just sitting down drinking coffee and enjoying it. That's
good, because I have heard that, you know, that's what you do. You get a chance to. You're not on a lot of the time. I don't know. I imagine at some sites you get given a day to do a day to do it. Yeah. Or half a day. That's what I've heard. The standard's half a day or a day on the site.
I think it's one of those where it takes as long as it takes. If you give yourself half a day, I'm a big believer in you sort of looking and thinking, I haven't really got time to do that. I think when it comes to field biologists, they've got to go in with a thinking that it should take half a day, but if it takes all day, at least I've done it properly, you know, and to the thing. And I mean, 99% of the time you can get around it, and there's no issues. But then, you know, you think, hold on, there's something under there, get a bit more involved with that, and you know, that's it.
Okay. So when I originally put it on LinkedIn, I put, does anyone want to come on the podcast that does BRCGS sites, you know, audited, etc. And here Dan's DM turns up. I was like, yeah, lovely to come on. And so you do BRCGS sites, do you?
Yeah. So I think we do. We have a handful of Salsa, but the majority of that sort of work that CSS does is BRCGS, mainly version 9 food standard. So there's and I've pretty much done that since I got my level 2 qualification. Obviously had that bit of handover with somebody who had their level 2 before me. So I'd probably say it's been the majority of my life for probably 8 years on doing those ones.
Okay, so with doing obviously the BRC sites, what's the best advice you can give? Like, is it more take your time and make sure everything's checked, and when you're going round, is it more about, I'm on about a technician. When you're doing a BRC as a technician, is it more about trying to look more and the devil's in the detail? Is it?
As a technician, the best piece of advice is to know the standard, is to take the time to either go to your end. Lots of companies will have a biologist with these standards available, or directly going to the site and just having a read of it before you do anything, just so that you have a full understanding of everything that the specification's asking, and also communicate with the customer, because yes, they may be BRC, but they may also have other auditing standards and stuff like that. And just so that you can get everything right and the way that you need to do it, it's that communication at the start and fully understanding what's expected of you sort of moving forward. Then the sort of the next things come in terms of placing monitors, what you're going to do with your baits and stuff like that. But yeah, a good understanding of the standard and what the site wants in terms of if they've got any additional, like organic as well, or a lot of these BRCs go hand in hand with another specification.
Okay. So I'll just look at reading the question on there. So all right, Jason, thanks for popping in. So obviously with that, it's just a case by case and learning the standard. But one thing I noticed when I read the standard, it's really weird because you are supposed to be RSPH level 2 award, aren't you, to do it?
Yeah.
Does not say it in the actual official standard. No. I found it on a separate document. That's a bit strange for it not to be in there. It says like a competent person. Like that could be anybody, couldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, also, sort of the version 9 dropped the actual field biologist qualification as well. It says it's a pest management expert that conducts the reviews of the site in terms of position of bait station, each area, what activities going on. I feel that as an industry, we're sort of still continuing to go for the level 2s doing the BRCs and the sort of a qualified field biologist doing those reviews. So it's not necessarily an issue that it's not in the standard. I think it's just it's what we work to.
Yeah. Do you think it's because I just thought about this? Do you think it's not in there because it's a global standard?
Potentially,
because if it's a global standard, I believe it's global, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the RSPH isn't qualifications, just UK.
That would make sense then, wouldn't it? It was much broader term in terms of that, yeah.
I read it and it's a global, that might be why it's not in there, because they're all different, aren't they, around the world? They are.
I'll have to look into it. And
maybe, I don't know. I just noticed it wasn't in there, but someone sent me a separate document that is basically what you need. And obviously it said RSPH level 2 or, BPCA's versions, same thing, I think. I don't know. It's pretty much all the same. As long as you've got the level 2, not day course. I get fed up with saying that. I do. Because there's so much confusion and arguments over it, isn't there?
Yeah.
Some people run well going, I'm level 2 qualified, are you? Yeah. And then you ask them, oh no, it's only the day course. Hugh Radford's now in the chat. How right, mate? He's saying technical visits should be carried out by someone more qualified than techs.
Yeah. It's the pest control expert that they highlight in it.
It is. Well, I just thought it was interesting how they didn't actually have it in there. Level 2 is the best practice. Actually, Hugh's the one I got it off. There's a separate document he gave me. And it's in that document. It's all in there. But I would like to get my hands on a BRCGS. So at some point, I would like to. You never know. One day I might get one. You never know. It'd be fun. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, it definitely comes with its challenges, and it's a lot of fun to get involved and doing all your trend analysis and everything like that. It's good fun.
So obviously with these sites, is there a standardized, when you're writing up your reports, is there a standardized way you should do a field biologist report, or are they all different? Is there like a set standard where you do how you do a report for a field biologist? I'd say on the BRCGS, is it just as long as you meet the minimum requirements, it's fine?
So it has to be an in-depth inspection of the areas according to the standards. So it has to be, go to each area, do an assessment for pest activity, hygiene, housekeeping recommendations, proofing recommendations, highlighting that all on the report. And it also has to review the current pest control methods in place. So effectively, what you do is go to each area. There's a cupboard under the stairs that we haven't got any monitors in. There's potentially something harbouring in there. Let's look at adding an additional monitor in there. I think as long as you hit those key points, hygiene, housekeeping recommendation, area by area assessment of what the pest activity is, what's going on, I think you tick the boxes in terms of that in-depth review.
So there isn't basic. As long as you hit the targets, there isn't actually an example of a report.
The actual report itself, it just follows a natural flow. Effectively, summarising what's happened since the last visit, then going area by area, taking your photographs because photographs speak 1,000 words. And then linking that to the recommendations for each area, including your trend analysis as well, which has to be done at least annually or in response to an issue, and just linking that all together in the report. It follows a natural flow. Also including some QA aspects of it in terms of looking through the folder, was this there, was that there, and including that in there. I feel like it effectively there are templates out there, but I think it follows a natural flow if you're thinking about the site and what the actual standard says in terms of what these reviews have to include.
Okay, that's good to hear. And also, Hugh has said that nearly all the specs are on the UK pest controllers. He means the Facebook group in the file section. So here's one for you. So what if because I used to have it on, I've heard of stories of Red Tractor where you got a spec. So say, for instance, you had a BRC site and an auditor asked you or whoever it was, for something, obviously not as a field biologist or tech or both, I don't know. Probably the company providing the pest control. For something that isn't actually in the spec. Have you ever come across that? Something extra that's not in there?
I think it comes up quite regularly in terms of that, and I think it's an opportunity to help your client effectively push back on some of those bits. But obviously, their job is to review it to the specification, and anything that's picked up could be as a recommendation or something that they can do, and it's always helpful to have a fresh eyes on a pair of sites and anything that you missed and stuff like that. But effectively, if you know your spec and you have your understanding of your spec and it doesn't feature on the spec, there's opportunities there to help with a slight pushback in terms of picking up something that's not necessarily as part of the standard.
I just thought I'd ask because you always get that one that asks for something they're not really entitled to. I've heard about it on Red Tractor sites asking for stuff that ain't even required, and going back to them. The person I knew went back to them and rang Red Tractor up and said, "This is not in the spec," and they dropped it in the end. They did because it wasn't in the spec.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's being there to support your customer with pushing back and understanding the spec. As I said, it's the most important thing you can do on these sites is to read it, understand it, and have that communication with your customer. Okay,
that's a good. It seems there's a theme: communication.
Yeah,
with the customer. 100%. That's the best bit is communicating what's going on. It does. So right, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry. So right. So I want to ask you a bit. So how do you build a pattern of life for trend analysis, and how does that compare to the catch tray? The the catch trend analysis trend. I probably got that wrong. How do you do all that? I've never done it before.
Okay, so effectively, you put all your monitors in your high risk areas like you usually would, as well as considering in terms of product contamination and stuff, because obviously under the spec we don't use any toxic bait unless we're treating in response to an issue. So you put them all in the high risk area. Also take into account sort of palatability, so any high risk areas or wet areas like that, probably put them down for visual inspection points rather than having a bait that can go moldy effectively in those areas. And then sort of they're fixed into position, labeled clearly, got all the the stuff that's required on the boxes in terms of your non-toxic monitoring block that you've chosen to use. And then effectively what you do is you go around and check them and include it all in a checklist. So most people do this by having a checklist with a section to enter a date, what result was in each of the monitors moving forward. Okay. And then what a biologist would do at that point is collate all that information annually if there hasn't been a problem or if they're in response to an issue. And we'd put all that into a graph to present, what issues or where the peaks and troughs are for the activity. It can also translate into a bit of a hotspot map, which is quite helpful. Some softwares have that out there where it naturally sort of picks up how many times that monitor has been hit and gives you heat spots on the map. The most important thing in terms of that is probably also as well, don't just rely on the bait station for the take. What I would do is I'd have that baiting point and consider the area immediately around it. So yes, there might not have been any bait consumption, but there was some drop-ins next to this box. And it's something that could be missed on when it comes to the trend analysis, because the physical bait station was clear. There was no take in the bait station, but there was some drop-ins next to it. And it's capturing that, in terms of your monitoring point checklist would really helpful for a biologist in terms of going back and looking and creating those graphs and creating those hotspot maps and stuff like that. So it's also with the temporary monitoring equipment as well. Obviously, that still has to be sort of fixed in position, because effectively you're putting it down with toxic bait in, and to prevent that contamination of products, you want that to be secured. So you're putting that in, you're making a temporary site plan and checklist to make sure that all the monitors on site and adhere to that standard. And then again, make that separate monitoring point checklist. Make sure that you're gathering that trend analysis data, because it all helps in the end. When you sit down with your customer at the end of the year for a review, it's really helpful to have all this. Look, this was the heat spots, and also when you have to do your risk assessment, your site-specific risk assessment to analyse how many visits you're doing, whether what we're doing on site's working, looking at the activity that we've had, which forms part of it, because all the visits for the year have to be done by risk assessment. Having all that information at the end of it gives you something to talk about in that meeting.
Well, no, that's really in depth, to be fair. I mean, there's me thinking, I've never done a trend analysis thing, but I never thought about the rodent activity. I just associate it with flies. The flies, it's everything. It's the whole story on site.
Everything on site gets trend analysis every 12 months, or if there's an issue. The fly trend analysis is fantastic. After every service, I'll do trend analysis for the fly units on site, just purely because it's such an instant indicator of anything going wrong. So obviously your peaks in your blowfly, something's dead somewhere, or your SPI that you pick up, there's something going on. It's the trend analysis aspect of it. It seems scary, but it's really just sort of looking at what activity we had, looking for patterns in that activity, and changing your approach moving forward to ensure that doesn't happen again.
No, it's a great explanation. It really is. It's your stuff, mate. You really do. There's some really good answers you've had, I tell you. You have. Darren Pierce on LinkedIn. Thanks for popping in, mate. Previous guest. Don't know if you listened. He done one on drains.
I did. I watched the drain one. Yeah.
Did you? That was very popular. That was. I had a really long message of someone on YouTube over that one. I'm guessing somebody worked for a national company and they were frustrated because the company they got in for rats didn't know about rats, for the drains. So yeah, so it taught them quite a bit. It did, which was good. So yeah, no, it's been really insightful. It has. So here's one for you. So if you say you go to a site that is brand new, which I had this, and they decided not to go for BRC yet. But I was like, when one of the questions is, what is the pest activity? Don't know. It's a new site. What do you do then? Say it's a brand new building, just opened, and you've got no pest activity, and it's all about pest risk. What do you do when there is no data?
So I think if you're looking at the actual site, there's you haven't got that data. But if you look at around the surrounding areas, is there a railway line behind it? Is there a lake? Is there some field? You can start building a risk. Risk management, a risk assessment based on the surrounding areas. Have they got a canopy? Is that canopy protected against birds nesting in the canopy? Obviously, if it isn't, they need a bird net underneath that. And I think, like every survey, you go in and as pest controllers, we're naturally looking at those things that we do without even thinking about it in terms of, there's a field over there. There's an animal feed plant, on the opposite side of this industrial estate. And you can start building that risk assessment, even though it's a brand new site, because you can think, there's a chance there. And obviously, part of that initial survey, you're doing a bit of a proofing survey. You go around, you identify any potential gaps and stuff like that. You think, hold on, while that's open, there is a chance that there could be some ingress here. So I'm going to build that into part of my site-specific pest risk assessment.
Okay, now that is absolutely an excellent answer, because I went to this, they've decided currently not to do that. They're just going to do normal. But yeah, I just thought I'd ask, because I didn't think. But to be fair, all the buildings on this estate, they're all new as well. So
no, definitely.
Yeah. But I didn't think of
there's always
like
things. I mean, Google Earth is a fantastic tool. Sort of zoom out, look at what the surrounding areas are, what are those risks associated with the natural landmark. I mean, as I said, railway lines, we think, vegetation back there, there's going to be litter collecting, nobody's going to be necessarily going down that. So build that into your site-specific risk and feature it in the document. Put, the reason I think you need X amount of visits a year is because of the location of site. There's a body of water over there, or there's a train line over here, and that's how I'm going to therefore justify that this site requires this visits.
Yeah. Great, I tell you, great information here. But no, it's a good answer. I just got to look. So yeah, just checking that. With a chat kicking off, any chat there has about standards there has. What was that about? It was about that was it, about M&S.
Yes.
You wrote M&S. You put it here. The only requirement is for BPCA certified field boy is the M&S supplier.
Yeah.
Do you do any of them?
Yeah, do a few in M&S sites. It's a whole different level up in terms of their specification.
Is it? I've heard of people that generally, if M&S does something, a lot of them seem to copy. They set a trend. Is that right? They kind of.
I think obviously the BRC regs came in as a way to sort of give that standard to everybody, and then different businesses went, well, if that's a standard, I'm going to do my business to this level. Well, if that's the standard, I'm going to do that to that level. And then you ended up with all these tiers, and effectively you can be on a site where you've got these multiple standards all can be working against each other, so that you're left in a box where all you can do is ask the mouse to leave politely, rather than do anything. But again, that comes back to communication and just making sure that you're aware of what those standards are. Like I said at the start.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is. How, I'm not saying you've ever used them. How has the ban or the effective block of glue boards on food sites, because they're allowed on food sites, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think most companies have dropped using them just because of the hassle, haven't they? Or
So I did the course with Killgem,
Yeah.
and I have carried out a treatment
okay.
since the ban's come in. Well, not ban, but the licenses and stuff.
The license, that's it.
And you know what? I only think it's a good thing when it comes to reducing animal suffering, Animal Welfare Act, all that sort of stuff, because I think it's so much at the forefront of our minds that we've got this license, that we have to adhere to this license conditions, that any room for any errors that used to occur is completely gone. And I think they have their place. I think they are a vital tool that we need in our toolbox, and we don't want to go the way of Scotland, isn't it? That's completely banned now.
I heard about that. They reckon if you've got them in your van, you can get arrested and go to prison for it.
Jeez.
So they're saying that even if you were a delivery driver, I
Mm.
think that's a bit extreme. Your delivery driver wouldn't know he's got them.
Yeah.
He would they?
I mean, it needs to be coupled with the ban of the sale, doesn't it, really? At the moment, it's just the ban of the use, not the sale. But, you know,
Well, yeah,
it's something that, again, I think it'll probably go further with it. But at the moment, in terms of making sure that they're being checked every 2 hours or have the constant monitoring, you know, more robust site plans, more robust checklists, it's all just helps with animal welfare and, you know, making sure that we're limiting that suffering.
I mean, at the end of the day, I've never really, well, in fact, I've never used them. But we obviously had some, not many, but you never want to use a tool, even if you've never used it before, because you never know Monday. Like, it's like effectively now, if you get a kitchen or a cafe that has an infestation now, you cannot use glue boards. To chuck glue boards down was the fastest way. You've got to trap them or.
But that makes us fall back more on integrated pest management, doesn't it? It pushes you that further to, you know, make sure that we're picking up all the hygiene. You know, the client's got to take more of a responsibility for the hygiene, the proofing that you guys are, you know.
I have got much better.
We are identifying as we go around.
I have got much better at telling them to do the proofing or pushing the proofing as a service as part of the plan, because I was never confident of saying this is what you need. But now I'm quite I don't get it all the time, but I'm more confident about saying this reduces these access points, and then you won't, you know, we can reduce that, and then we can look at other areas. But I'm more that comes over time, because although it's this part of integrated pest management, you've still got to sell that to the customer, haven't you?
Yeah.
So even though you're giving them a solution, you got to be more confident in how you word it.
Definitely.
Some people just think, "Oh, just try to make money out of me." When you obviously you want to make money as a business, but you also want to make sure that you cut down all avenues for rodents to get in the building.
Yeah.
Or a cafe or whatever.
I mean, it's the root cause analysis of any pest issue is what we have to get to in terms of how it started in the first place. And look, when you sort of deal with most pests, there is something that you can show to the customer in terms of, let's say, you know, rats coming in through an air brick hole. There's gnawing, there's smear marks, there's evidence that you can demonstrate to a customer that this is the root cause of what's occurring. So, I mean, demonstrating that root cause analysis and getting them to buy into what our industry is more about is about, you know, working together rather than, you know, just chucking poison around everywhere.
It is better that way, but obviously sometimes I've just filled a hole because they're not going to do it, not going to pay for it. Sometimes I've just done it. You know, you shouldn't do, but you know they're not going to pay for it, or you know they're not going to do it. You just do it. Sometimes,
and that's the problem, isn't it? Because you think,
even if you put it on
help
the
me in the long run if this hole is sealed.
Even like when you put it on there so that EHO can see, but sometimes it don't come for 18 months. It don't always work, does it? We'll keep putting this on here, but it doesn't work, does it? Yeah.
No.
But
but that's, again, if we link that back to the BRC stuff, obviously part of the standard is making sure that they react on to recommendations in a timely manner.
So has to be actioned, or they can get in trouble, can't they?
Yeah, definitely. It can form as part of the non-conformance for them, which is great. I mean, recommendations have to be reasonable and practicable. I think if you give them something that's insane, you're not necessarily going to get that work. But that is one of the things that I do like about these audited sites is a hole needs filling, and 99% of the time you come back round and it's filled and it's sorted. So yeah, that is an added benefit, compared to your other stuff, really.
No, it is, because they basically have to do what you say, or they're going to get a non-conformance.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's in their interest.
Highlighting, vegetation overgrown and bits proofing, and obviously canopies as well is a big one that features on the standards in terms of making sure they're protected against birds nesting and roosting in there, and rapid rollers, making sure they're not leaving the doors open all the time because birds can fly in, or PVC strip curtains. So make sure that as we're going around we're looking up as well, because it does form part of the BRC standard. It's specifically for birds. Funny you should have said that. That's actually what that site went to look at. They're going for normal. That's actually one thing that I says, why didn't you get these doors sorted? Yeah, pigeons, they had to get someone else to sort that, but they had them in. I said, you need the strip curtains, and they said we should have done that straight away. Yeah, which but it's kind of, he says, well, I'm getting a guy, get him in, we're going to sort it. It's all been ordered and all that, but hopefully they get it. But that was going to be a BRCGS site. They've not made their mind up. But you can't give a price if they're not going to tell you the detail, can they? I suppose it's like anything. It's a step up. I mean, they have to get operationally up and running to get to that point where they feel confident to pay for that audit and get that audit done. So I mean, there's always that room to say, right, this is your standard, but if you want to upgrade your service later on, it's X amount extra. And then you sort of you can get it going, get ball going. But you also have the back in mind, like, okay, if we're going to go BRC, it's this extra. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you need to know exactly what they're going to be selling. Everything. I knew nothing about what it was going to be. It was, can you give us a price in case? So they can't really. I need to know exactly what you're going to be doing, because it's like chucking a number out there. It might be right, it might be wrong. Yeah, so I just give a normal price instead. And obviously that risk assessment that you do to establish the visits and stuff, the site-specific risk assessment, effectively you have to change that every time a process changes as well, or there's a different risk. If they suddenly put a production line and there's voids in that machinery, and there's that chance of product falling down into that, making conditions conducive for stored product insect breeding, etc. You have to include machinery inspections in that risk assessment. So yeah, I get the struggle, mate. 100%. Oh yeah. I was really excited. I was like getting all this help of people, and he was like, "Well, it might be." Then I didn't give me no detail. But I can't really write anything. I can't give a proper price or anything like that. So it doesn't matter. But so here's one for you. A few people have asked me this question. What do you think what should be in a tech's bag? It should be a standard of what a tech should carry. Say BRC. So obviously a torch. Obviously things like that. Definitely. Yeah. So what I would say before you even got there is to consider the bag that you're taking in. So what I would do is have a second bag, because you've got to think about contamination of product as you're going into these sites. So effectively, where you've been, what you've been doing and stuff before is on the bottom of that bag. And you're entering these food sites, very strict hygiene, the whole changing procedure, you're putting clothes on, coveralls before you go in. So having that second bag that's specifically organised for your BRC sites, you're keeping that clean, you know where it's been, because effectively they've got to have allergen tracing and stuff like that. And you've been to a peanut butter factory, for example, to put that down, and you're taking that bag into a non-peanut butter site, non-nut site. So I'd be thinking about that before necessarily going in. So just a general service, lots of non-toxic bait, because obviously it's non-toxic until there's an issue. So obviously just to keep that palatability of bait up, making sure
Would you say, sorry to jump in there, with non-toxic bait, would you say it's better to put the non-toxic bait in a plastic bag?
I wouldn't, because it gives us a technician almost like an excuse not to check the bait itself, and then you'll lead to like secondary infestations, and you might end up with some frass inside or a stored product insect inside that bag, because you think, okay, that's protected, it's protected from the air, nothing's getting into that bag, no damage on the top, and then that bait goes unpalatable, and then you never ever get a take on it, and you think, oh, okay, there's just nothing going on there. But if if there's a wet area, or if there's risk of that bait getting contaminated or becoming unpalatable, I would suggest personally going for a visual inspection point instead of putting a bait in that point. So what that would involve for me necessarily is putting a monitor, a label on the wall to say this is a visual inspection point number 1, a date labeled before, so you can demonstrate to an auditor that you actually are going into the area and checking it, and you're dating it off as you go, and then you've got that opportunity to do that visual inspection in the area, take some photos, add that to the report, or feature that in your report section. So necessarily the whole thing of bagging baits, I personally don't think it's of a huge benefit. And also you've got other options as well. If you're getting slugs eating it all the time, you could go for one of the plastic baits. I don't know if I'm allowed to say product names and stuff, so I'll keep going like this. But yeah, so like a am I allowed to say product names?
Yeah, if you want. I'm not.
So like, I don't know, the Nara blocks and stuff like that, where the slug's not going to get in and have a chunk of that. So just think about what we're using in the areas, rather than sort of going to that bag and giving yourself that thing of thinking the bag's not damaged, so the bait's good. Just making sure that we're keeping it as palatable as possible. So if we do get anything in, we're competing with the products that they've got on the racking and the shelves and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. That. Can you see what he's just put?
Yeah, I saw that.
Never tried it. I don't know.
It was just an example. I'm sorry.
Yeah. but yeah, it's a good point about baits. I just thought I'd ask the question about being bagged or not bagged. So yeah, it's a good point.
Obviously back to the bag and stuff. Decent set of monitors. Again, reducing contamination risk. Are the boxes grease free? Are they nice and clean? Replace them as you go, keeping it looking professional, audit ready. So I keep saying I agree.
Nothing great. I know.
But slugs won't eat it, which was
really, they won't eat it.
Nara blocks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's. I think generally in my experience, and this is only my personal, people bag it when there's more likely the slugs are going to damage the baits and stuff like that. Plenty of monitors. So you're keeping your stuff nice and tacked. Obviously, anchoring pads to keep your monitors secured into position. And all in terms of wire and stuff, all your fixing materials to make sure you can stay it. Plenty of labels. Obviously, they're having clean down. Things are happening between visits. Labels do become illegible, so you want to be able to make sure you've got the kit to do that without having to keep knit backwards and forward to the van. We probably also want to think about what we're going to do in case there's an issue. So we want some breakback traps in there. And we also want to probably consider what we're going to put on those traps, because again, thinking about the allergens, thinking about the contamination risks, you want something that's not, something like a provoke or something like that. That's therefore going to
them little plastic ones. I don't know what they're called. You can put them in traps. They're the plastic ones.
Definitely.
They've got scent in them or something.
Yeah. I can't think of what
we used to have some of them. We probably have still got some of them in stores.
Yeah.
Also, you want brush, are you saying?
Yeah. So Killgem do a really good AF key. If you've got AF keys where it's half brush and half thing, give the monitors a good clean down, clean the inside of it. you know, if there has been a little bit of, you know, frass at the bottom of the box in terms of, you know, something's been in there, make sure you're getting it all out, cleaning it out. You know, it's just got to be, you've got to leave that site with it being audit ready every time, because you don't know what customer visits they're going to have, or, you know, if the, you know, hopefully you've had that communication when you know the BRC is, but it's just got to be bang on and ready to go, so that you can sleep at night.
Nice. So with that, so that's from a tech. So what do you carry in your field biologist bag? What do you carry on site round with you?
So factory pen, obviously, metal detectable pen, which is something a technician should have as well, which I forgot.
Metal detectable pen.
Yeah, so a factory pen, basically, again, you don't want to be taking in something that could effectively be a contaminant that they won't be able to pick up. So plastic pens or pens with lids or anything that you could drop as you're going around and that could end up in the product you don't want to do. So you get a factory pen, they're usually blue, but they can be different colours and stuff like that. And add that in. Metal clipboard, again, for the same reason. You don't necessarily want, well, you don't want wood in there or anything like that.
What if you're digital? Do you do it after? Do you write it up digitally after?
So what I do is I take a clipboard and pen and I make all my notes as I'm going around.
Okay.
And I've developed a weird shorthand that nobody else can understand. read my notes afterwards. That go area by area, make my notes, do that sort of stuff. And then basically I spend the time afterwards, because I have to do all the trend analysis anyway. So I have to take photos of all the checklists, upload that onto an Excel spreadsheet, make the graphs on that side of it. So I don't necessarily, I can sit there and do it in each area, but, you know, the more time I spent writing reports in the areas, the less time that I have looking and getting involved in what's going on. And, you know, my wife hates it, but I will sit of an evening and then type the reports off. But, you know, it's easier. It's easier to, you know, just have your clipboard, your pen, make your notes, take your photos as you're going around, have your torch in your hand. You know, and, you know, UV torch is always very helpful as well to have in your pocket, all your bait keys, and stuff like that, really. Yeah,
no, I just thought that's what the difference was with a field biologist bag, because I've never asked that one. I've had a couple on so far, but I've never asked them that question, you know, about bags.
I mean, that's the general inspection, but there's always a bag in the back of the car for, in terms of if I find something, to prevent that technician having to do that initial call out. I'll put some control measures in place. I'll get a program, a treatment plan in place, and then they sort of act it out after that and add their bits to it. That, you know, that collaborative working technician and field biologist.
Lids on your pots. Hugh's just put
lids on your pots.
I don't even know what he means.
I need to expand on that.
I don't know what he means there. I thought you might know, but you don't either. He'll comment in a minute. Yeah, lids on the pots. Come on, Hugh, tell us what you mean. Lids on the pots. But no, it's been a good. I've learned a lot so far, but I might have to listen to this back, because I tell you, I don't know if you're going to listen to this back, but even though I'm an experienced podcast, I don't like listening back to a whole podcast of myself. I'm more used to it now, but you actually sound
I'll never be able to listen to this, but
you know,
I'll be like, oh no, why did I say that?
You actually sound different to what you think.
Yeah,
you do as well. Put lids on your non-tox pots, etc. Did you get what it means? Non-toxic.
No.
It's in a box.
The last
thing you want is to kick over your.
Right. I get what he means. So yeah, obviously when you decanter your bait, you put it into a tub. You've got a lid on. You've obviously labelled that as the product that's in there, because again, it's that contamination risk. That's got to be in the back of your mind. Is thinking.
Right. Get it.
Sorry, Hugh. Got you now, mate. Sorry.
Let's just put that so the video can see it. There and there. There we go. Yeah. There we go. But yeah, let's have a look. Yeah, but no, it's been an interesting podcast. It has. Do you only do CSS audits for the techs. Is that what you do?
Yeah. It's I've got a good team behind me. And, you know, they don't get it 100% right all the time, but they're very, very receptive to the sort of the QAs. They come out with me, and you know, we're putting out some good stuff now.
That's nice. So you will, if you find issues, tell them. You won't just
100%. I mean, it's part of it as well is that QA aspect of it. In terms of, I'll go through the folder, make sure that everything's present in the folder. They've filled out the checklist correctly, and there's human error. I mean, they're doing these checklists, and they might have missed the last page, and you know, then you can go through the treatment reports and fill that out for them and stuff like that. So we do an audit, but I always highlight it to them in terms of, let's get these bits fixed here and there. So I do a whole paperwork section. So it will go from right from the service outline through to certificates and safety data sheets, making sure they're all correct.
Okay, straight to dustbin. Well, you thought it was a dustbin. No. It was a flower bin. Oh wow!
So you do that. You do the you work through that. So I'll break it down aspect by aspect for them. You know, bits here. You know, and what they're really good at is, you know, making sure that it's fixed. And then I'll go monitor by monitor, and obviously, I don't necessarily check every monitor on site. I sort of check a percentage in each area. Most of the more time I'm focused on what's going around it. But again, I make sure that everything's labeled correctly. They're anchored to the wall, that the baits are nice and clean and tidy. They've changed the baits regularly, and so they every time they get an email afterwards, just highlighting any bits that I found, and they come back to me and say, all sorted. All bit, but it's just down to human error. It's not. No
one's perfect, are they? You know.
Yeah.
We're not robots, are we?
No.
Yeah. So obviously, with your tool bag, do you have a nice little magnifying glass as well?
I have a little lens and some sample pots. So collect things afterwards. If I can ID it, then brilliant. If I have to go through a key, you know, always communicate with the customer. Found this. Not 100% sure, but I will get that answer for you and come back to you.
No, that's good. That is.
I
suppose they like that. That's transparent. You like
100%. I mean, as I said, it's all about communication and just making sure that, you know, it's clear what you're doing and what's happened on the visit and stuff like that. And you also sort of, obviously, you have your non-shattered tubes and stuff. And even if something happens with an EFK, or you lose a bit of something, or something goes missing, it's really important that you just go and communicate that, you know.
No, that's good, that is, because I imagine that not every... Well, I suppose with BRC, they have to read your report, don't they? I was going to say on normal sites, a lot of them don't read them. So.
It's so they have to do quarterly audit. Doesn't feature in the pest control section. It's higher up in the standard. So pest control is audited quarterly. So that would be it's a taskmaster.
Hi, Lawrence. Thanks for popping
in. But yeah, so it's just a case of, I've totally lost my train of thought now. What was I saying? So you lost it as well.
Yes.
So,
I don't know. I don't know.
I can't. No, I've lost.
I asked you about magnifying glasses, and you mentioned that.
Yeah. So we talk about lenses. Then it was, I don't know, mate. We'll move on to the next thing.
That's it. No, that was it. I've nipped into a 9-mile man, Dan. Glad to do my job. Yeah, you derailed it.
You derailed us.
You derailed it at the end. It's fine. So I think we covered the majority. But yeah, it's been a good podcast, and I've learned a lot, and I hope a lot of other people have learned stuff as well.
It's been a good experience from the first one. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you, Shaun, for having me.
To have you back on for some kind of round table in the future. I do them every so often. I used to do them once a month, but I've I'm going to do them every few months, so I might invite you on one of them because very passionate about it. Definitely, you know your stuff big time.
Thank you.
Do. All our guests do, but it just shines through with you. It does as well. So it's good to hear that. As and Hugh's saying, thanks, chaps. So before I say the goodbyes, I've been asked to mention, right, CPD, I haven't mentioned it in ages. If you're with the British Pest Register, Shaun Mooney's scheme, simply give me a day or two. I normally do it the day after. If you go to CPD training, I put up a little quiz of 4 to 5 questions. Something Dan said within the podcast, question-wise. I actually get AI to do it for me, the quiz, but it gets it right. I check it, get your point, and then you get your point. It'll be 1 point probably for that. And then if you were the BPCA, just self-register it with a BPCA. And sorry, if you are with Basis Prompt, I have tried. I sent an email on the 8th of May listing the podcast and what people learned, etc. But so far, I have had no communications back. So I don't know if I'm getting any points for this podcast for Basis Prompt this year, but I have tried. So I'll have to see if I can send an email saying, did you get my email? Saying that, I left them last year. I moved over to the British Pest Register. And I sent them an email saying that I left in October. I give you notice. And they emailed back apologising because I gave them the exact date so they could go and find the email. Stop, because they were sending me a bill saying it's overdue. Recently got another one saying it's overdue. So they want my 80 odd quid. I say, I've left you. I've got to ring them if I can get through and tell them, cancel that. Not a member. I'm not, but yeah, it is hard to get hold of them. And Jason's saying he hasn't got his ID card off Basis Prompt or the British Pest Register. All right, okay. Have to get on to them then. You want to message Shaun, Jason, and say, where's my card? But yeah, so I had to mention it because I'll be honest, I haven't mentioned how you do CPD in a while. They're all on there. There's 70 odd podcasts on the British Pest Register. If you wanted to go through a load of the quizzes or ones you've listened to and do the quizzes, there's a load of points there. If you want, I'm like clockwork. They're all there apart from one podcast that was deleted. The name shall remain anonymous as to who that was, but I think you all know. Kieran. Well, Kieran. So, but yeah, they're all up there for you to get your CPD with. But yeah, so thanks, Dan. It's been good to have you on.
It's been a pleasure. Thank
you. I might pick you up for another podcast at some point.
Thank you.
I enjoyed talking to you. But yeah, thanks, Jackie, as well for watching, and Jason and Paul. It's been very popular. And Adam. Look, all these names that they're going for. Look, great podcast. He put thanks higher up. Look, all these messages. Look, great podcast. There we go. So yeah, so thanks everyone. Next week I've got on something different. I've got a lady from a project in New Zealand, from Wellington, called Predator Free 2050. It's a project where they aim to, obviously Wellington, it's more urban, wipe out the rats, stoats, etc. on scale, so they're actually actively dropping traps into people's gardens. They've got teams of people on scale. So I've got her on next Tuesday at 8 p.m. So that'll be fun. First New Zealand guest. It is live. So I think it's like 6 or 7 in the morning where she is, but she's coming into work early to do it. She is. So that would be good. But yeah, so thanks, Dan. Do you want to give anyone a shout out or plug
just
anything?
Hi to the guys if you're watching. Yeah.
There you go.
I would have said hi to Lawrence, but he messed me up.
9, they're getting more people now. The podcast is ending. Oh, wow. 6 people on Facebook and 3 people on YouTube. I didn't realise it did that. But this podcast will get loads of views after. It always does quite well. It does. But yeah, so thanks everyone. If you're still online for a minute, and I'll just say I end the podcast. But yeah, thanks everyone, and I will see you all next week. Thanks everyone.